Well, hi there. Let's make some music. Well, the music's already been made, but we're going to go through each individual track and hopefully you can learn something about music production or just the way I like to make music. Today we're going to go over a song that I wrote with my dear friend Caleb Lee Hutchinson, and it is called Cry in the Sun. Let's jump right in. Well, you can see right off the bat kind of a lot of stuff going on, and oh boy, there is a lot. So we're going to fly right through this. Let's start at the top, and I guess we'll start with drums. Hang on a second, those drums sound different as soon as everything else joins in. Well, that's because I have this one with some distortion on the decapitator. And then when the actual song comes in, the decapitator is off. A couple people asked last time about drums. Yes, they're all Logic drums, and I think that they sound fantastic. You'll see here kind of in the choruses, I added another kick underneath. Just a different kit, a little more brightness to add to the thumpy kick. And same old deal as before, compressor, and call it a day. Fet style compressor on all the drums, bass guitar. I haven't listened to these stems since recording them, probably, so I'm in for a little bit of a treat as well. I think that's probably my Mustang bass, which has flat wound strings on it. For most of this album, I used the P bass with round wounds. Flats will give you that Beatlesy kind of sound, vintage. I prefer flat wounds for all the bass players out there. Most of the time, that's what I'm going to go for. They have a nice dead thump kind of character that I like a lot. But when you're doing kind of more pop punk stuff, flats aren't really the sound, but it sounds like I'm using flats here. And my guess would be on the Mustang, which is a shorter scale, but very boomy. I got a Mustang because one of my favorite groups of all time, Air, they're a French group. They are known to use the Mustang bass, and I think they sound great. They can get real subby, which you wouldn't really think with a shorter scale bass, but they sound very nice. Let's hear bass and drums together. This song started with a guitar hook. You'll notice it's titled Emo 3. Well, that's because Caleb came to visit down here in Texas, and we had the intention of writing and recording some country music. And I think on maybe within the first hour, we were like, hey, do you just want to make an emo album? And so we made it like an entire EP. And this song kind of was a little left of center for all the other stuff that we wrote and recorded. And I said, hey, my guy, can I put this on my new album? Because it fit there better. Sometimes certain songs, they feel like they fit in a certain way. But it's nice to have a feature with someone who's a very good singer and then have them sing kind of in a emo voice and do a falsetto, which I don't believe Caleb is known for. He has a beautiful, beautiful voice, and I like making him sing silly. So I won't put you on the spot too much, Caleb, here. So the song started with, as many do, a guitar riff. Let's unfreeze that and see what it sounds like without the decapitator. Sounds pretty cool. I think that's my Epiphone Casino. That's what the Beatles used. Sounds cool, huh? With the bass. This kind of, to me, when we just kind of had this part, that seemed very 90s to me. And so when it came time to write some lyrics, which I think we spent all of 10 minutes on, I thought, well, let's write a fun song about wishing it was the 90s. But Caleb, I believe, was born in 1999, so he doesn't remember the 90s. So his verse is about the Warped Tour. Here's some acoustic guitars. Doubled. And I had Caleb play that. He's a very good guitar player. On the acoustic, we have your classic SSL. Nothing too fancy going on there. And a compressor with acoustic guitar selected. I don't even think I touched anything on that because it sounded nice to my ears. And those are panned hard left, hard right. Oh, I promise next time I'll have these videos in stereo. So you're probably not hearing it in stereo again. Sorry. Just kind of a 90s, I think, vibe. So now I know it was my casino that we used for that because the feedback here. Casinos are hollow body guitars, and they tend to feedback. Here is the verse.
I wish it was 1996. I'd be a cool punk rock emo kid. Have a surgeon take out my ribs, then live like a pirate.
Pretty fun. SM7. I think I used SM7 for the entire album. That's this microphone right here. Compression, EQ on the SSL, J37 for saturation, RVox. Does this ring a bell to anyone watching? Decapitator, and this one has a little touch of pitch correction in the key of G. Didn't use auto-tune on this album, but I did use a little bit of pitch correction and just the built-in Logic one. I like the way it sounds. I think it sounds nice. I prefer it to auto-tune. But I like to use it as an effect. If I have to correct something, I'll use Melodyne. But for something subtle like this, it just felt more pop to me.
Cool punk rock emo kid.
For this style of vocal, I think the SM7 works really well. To me, this is like a rock microphone. And it's very quiet. So if you're kind of doing a louder style vocal, this isn't necessarily yelling, but...
Live like a pirate. I want to know what it's like to live every day like a hardcore Luddite. Gonna quit.
Never used the word Luddite in a song until this one, so that's fun. And then we have Caleb's Harms. Up front, there's a little vocal hook, the la da 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 da. I'll solo that. 4 stacks of that. So that's got some fun stuff going on. Little altar boy here on this one, which is a pitch shifter. without. So just pitched up, pretty simple. And on the, I have those grouped together in a track stack. It's like a folder basically. So everything affecting everything that's so over here, this is what's affecting everything in that group. And I have this lo-fi space plugin from Waves. That's just adding a little, it's adding a little, like a dirty delay to it. A lot of, when you're recording digitally, which is pretty much all I record anymore, sometimes it's a little too clean. You got to mess it up. Compress them all together with an LA2 and then EQ'd out. Just a little high pass there. Take the solo off all those. Let's get into some chorus. So that's where the big guitars come in. Doubled. And two different guitar tones. Here's one. Sounds cool. Here it is with the bass. And then halfway through the chorus, Caleb comes in with a telly part. And there is a guitar mini that happens as well. Octaves. Very 90s. See, Weezer used that a lot. Good example. The example, I think, of an octave guitar riff would be My Own Worst Enemy by Lit. So that's just rock and harm. Oh, and there's a George Harrison inspired. Oh, we go from shaker to tambourine. And you'll notice, I actually didn't comment on this last time, I have a Diva synthesizer adding a sub bass. That's gonna, if you don't have headphones in, that's gonna be hard to hear, but it adds a little bit of oomph into it. And then the vocals are me and Caleb singing together.
Let's go cry in the sun. Let's go cry in the sun. Let's go cry in the sun.
Pretty funny. It's funny having someone like Caleb with such a great voice singing, "Let's go cry in the sun." That made me laugh. Caleb, he rules. Love that we worked Gerard Way's name into a song. Props to him for that. I think the chorus, yeah, it looks like the chorus is identical there, but let's get into the bridge where some fun stuff happens. And back into it. Moog. And then modulation wheel. That's just changing the pitch amount and modulation amount on the Moog, which is That one right there, subsequent 37. There's just an EQ on that, and then a delay, an Echo Boy delay. And then we also have a really fun little guitar part. So that sounds a lot more complex than it really is. Maybe a little inspiration from The Edge, seeing as it's a digital type delay through an AC30. But check this out, if I turn the delay off. G major pentatonic scale with a delay. That's all it is. But it's kind of fun when it's going on with the Moog underneath. Just a little fun moment to get us through the So the vocal hook from the beginning comes in again here. You can see I have a muted part, and it was just ooh la las that were going on there, but I saved one of them right here. I like it. Very pretty. I'm just using the vintage Mellotron built into Logic, strings and flute blended together. If you don't know what a Mellotron is, it's, I believe, the first sampler ever. And they just recorded tape loops and applied it to a keyboard. So you'd press a key on a keyboard and it would activate a tape loop, and they just did it for every note on the piano. It sounds great. Strawberry Fields Forever is probably the most famous usage of Mellotron. I have that going through an amp. I have that going through a Tascam cassette machine for some sauce. And then, of course, the EQ. Here it is without the amp. Oh, and a pedal board, which is just EQing. There's delay and a phaser as well, very subtle. But here it is without all of the goods. See, while we wait for the tracks here to freeze, we'll talk about the guitar used in this. This is a Korean-made Epiphone Casino, and I absolutely love this guitar. And I had sold it, and it was the only guitar really ever that I really regretted selling, and luckily I sold it to a dear friend, and we managed to get it back into my hands. I think last year. And it's just fun. It's hollow, so you can get it to feedback real well. A lot of people don't like them because they feedback so much, but I like them a lot. And to get the feedback in the guitar part earlier, you just hold the guitar up to a speaker, and with an amplifier, that's easy. But when you're just plugging straight into an interface and doing all of your sounds digitally, you lose that. This is probably the most featured guitar on the album. This is an ESP E2 custom built in Japan, Nippon. And the neck is just beautiful. I got this at Norman's Rare Guitars in Los Angeles, California. And the first song written and recorded would have been a song called Play Destroy. And so I call this the Play Destroy guitar. We also did We Appreciate Power and this entire album because it's the only guitar I have with humbuckers. If you're unfamiliar, single coils are kind of a more vintagey, I guess you would say. Maybe not vintagey, but The humbucker, as you can see, there's two. It takes away the hum or the buzz. But anytime I'm trying to get like a heavy distorted guitar sound, usually this is what I'll gravitate towards. I'm not a huge Les Paul fan. I've never owned a Les Paul actually, which is wild. I owned a knockoff, a lawsuit era Les Paul, and just didn't. They've never really. They don't necessarily speak to me, but I like the brightness when you put a humbucker in a Strat, small Strat style. This is an E2 Vintage Plus, and it's great. And it has EMG HZ pickups in the neck and middle position, which are great for cheesy 80s tones. And it's a shredder, and it just wouldn't be right to go without using this gorgeous Telecaster. You'll notice here it has a modern bridge on it. I actually kind of prefer the original Tele bridges, but I've been looking for a Tele, or I had been looking for a Tele for almost 20 years. And my brother has a beautiful, beautiful American, I want to say it's a 52 reissue. It's maybe my favorite guitar I've ever played. I've been trying to get him to sell it to me for well over a decade, and he won't. So I've been on a quest, and whenever I was on tour, I'd go to every guitar shop and play every Tele. I played hundreds of Teles and didn't find one that I liked until I found this. And this is according to the serial, it's a Baja. If you know anything, or maybe you work for Fender, hopefully, but if not, if you know anything about Fenders, the serial, I looked it up on Fender's serial identification. It says it's a Baja. I don't think it is. Maybe the neck was taken off of it, but it does say custom shop designed, and it is, the serial says it's Baja, but I thought the Bajas had is it S1 switches? This doesn't have those, but it is a 4-way selector. But this is, if I had to sell everything and keep one guitar, this is the one I would keep. And this is what Caleb played on the chorus guitar. And just the neck is unbelievable on it. I was a Strat guy my entire life. My first guitar I ever got was a Stratocaster, and I've become a Telecaster apologist, enthusiast. I really got to get better at taking notes in my sessions, but I'm pretty sure this is the bass that was used. This is a newer Vintera 2 Mustang bass. I've got flat wound strings on it. Probably can't hear that, but it's great. Very punchy. Not a huge fan of for the past couple years, they're using Pau Ferro, I think it's called, wood, as opposed to rosewood. It's a little lighter cosmetic thing, but your boy is vain. But I had it set up at a place down here in Texas, and they did a fantastic job. But if you are looking to start on bass, I would highly recommend one of these. Get it set up, put some flat wound strings on it, and it is so comfortable. And a lot of people recommend, if you're a guitar player, a lot of people recommend if you're going to get a bass to get a Mustang, just because it feels a lot more comfortable. So when I'm doing harmonies, I like to stack them in a folder there, see, and then affect everything in the track stack. In this case, I'm just compressing it and cutting out a little bit of low end, but you can hear. Can you just build it? And then you just add higher and higher. What's going on with that one? Just some ahs going on, and then some spice. Pretty nice. So when you come back in with the big chorus after a broken down part, you can kind of make the chorus. It's the same thing, just copied and pasted as before, but because we just came out of a pretty angelic quiet part, this sounds a little bigger. You know what I'm saying? And you have your shine. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Did I get through everything here? 46 tracks on this one. But really the core of it, a lot of it, as I do, is a lot of it is just doubles of the exact same thing. I don't think I hit this. What's this? Little synth thing that only happens at the very last chorus. It's barely even in there. And then, oh, we already went over this. Mellotron. I think that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like the music, you can listen on Spotify. The album's called Duh by Titanic Sinclair, or you can go to titaniksinclair.bandcamp.com, download it in way higher quality, and support independent musicians. I like that. And you can choose what you want to pay for it too, which is fun. And any extra love you want to give there is going directly to diapers, because I have a newborn. And wow, do they go through diapers. But he is a sweetheart. Thank you so much for watching. I like doing these. Let's do some more, huh? What do you want to see next? I thought maybe we'd do a Finn's Parents song. There's some really cool production stuff going on there, and I know a couple people have requested that. And so maybe we'll go ahead and do that. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.